Hey guys, it's Venatiol back with Card Vanguard deck profile. So if you guys enjoy, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and sorry, this time we're covering Dragon Empire for Venatiol for DZ set 11. So Venatiol came out in DZ set 10 as like the new generic Dragon Empire deck, and while it wasn't necessarily bad, it didn't really have a lot of things going for it because it only had one actual support card for the deck. And now we've got a few more support cards in this set, and while it doesn't make the deck particularly amazing, it does give the deck an actual foundation to stand on. So let's get the start, shall we, and see what we have. First today we have our energy generator. So it's our ride deck crest. You may only have one ride deck crest in your ride deck. Auto ride deck, when you ride, plus card to your crest zone. If you win a second, energy charge 3. Continuous, measure 10 energy. Auto begin ride phase, energy charge 3. Then act once per energy plus 7, draw a card. On pretty solid, you get a free 3 energy every turn. Even when second, you get an extra 3 on top of that. And once you have 7 or more energy, you can blast it to draw a card. Unfortunately, in this deck, you will never use the energy generator to energy blast 7 to draw, because a lot of our generic support cards that we run actually do cost 3 energy to use a skill. On the upside, though, again, this energy generator gives you 3 energy every turn, so you can use your skills consistently. But also, all those cards that use energy use the energy to draw, so either way, you're getting a draw out of your energy blast. As for our starter, we have Venatiol Rocola. Grades will boost 5k shield, 6k base, who for some reason reminds me of, what's his name? The guy from the Croods, the Groog, I think his name was, the main dad. Anyways, auto rotopon to win, so I can draw a card, so standard starter, and that's about a free draw if you go second. You don't really need this as your starter. Another rider that requires Rocola. It's just really nice to have for the theming. Then we have our Overtrigger and Dragon Deity King of Resurgence Drag Veda. Grades will boost 50k shield, 5k power. Overtrigger, you may overtrigger in your deck or vote as a trigger, move that card, draw a card, choose over, get a plus 1 for the turn. If you voted during your judge check, activate the additional effect, which you can choose over Vanguard to stand it. Pretty solid, whether you drive check or damage check this, someone gets a million and you get a draw, but if you drove check, you get to choose over Vanguard to stand it. Cool. I mean, Drag Veda being able to restand the Vanguard, albeit with a lot less power and a lot less pressure, it's still pretty cool to have as the overtrigger. Then we have our normal triggers, starting off with 3 draws and Flareveil Dragon. Grades will boost 5k shield, 4k power, contains guard, circle, if your opponent's Vanguard's a grade 3 guard at 5,000 to shield. So it's a 10k shield and it's a draw trigger, so it helps increase your hand. In this deck, you're constantly killing off your own rear guards, and while you are playing a lot of different cards that allow you to draw, it's nice to have even more draw power to help increase the hand. Plus, the Vanguard's always typically the last attack, and front triggers don't really do much for anything outside of the Vanguard. Then we have a total of 8 crit, 4 being Conduct Spark Dragon, grades will boost 50k shield, 5k power, makes any vanilla crit you want, and then 4 Burning Flail Dragon, grades will boost 50k shield, 4k power, auto rear guard, but let it boost it, shove the soul, choose unique decay for the turn. This deck doesn't technically need Burning Flail because you most likely won't run into a soul problem, but if you randomly do, then it is nice to have Burning Flail just in case, so it's up to you if you want to run it or not, but if you choose not to run it, completely fine. Either way, you want to run 8 crit for offensive pressure, followed by 4 heal and White Light Dragon Parasolas. Grades will boost 50k shield, 5k base. You make this any heal you want. You can even make it the counter heals. I prefer the consistent 15k shield over the vanilla heals, over the fluctuating 10 to 25k shield of the counter heals. As for our grade 1s, we start with 3 copies of Soaking Draco Kid. So in the original version of this deck, I ran the Nymph line as an engine, and then after a set of testing that and not liking it, I was like, F it, I gotta get a different line. Thankfully, in this set, we got support cards to where I only had to run 2 specific cards that could work as an engine, so thankfully that worked out. And then, good for the Nymph line, because the Nymph line ended up getting its own ride line the same week, so not bad. Anyway, Soaking Draco Kid, grade on boost 5k shield, 8k base. Auto drops them when your secret Bath Dragon Cry Hot Springs is played from your hand and put into your order zone. Energy blast 3, call to rear guard circle, and if your opponent's Vanguard to grade 3 guard, it gets 5,000 power for the turn. So it's a 13k base, allows it to call itself back once your order card is put into your order zone. The downside is it can't call itself back after that point, so unfortunately how the order works is that it rests itself, but unfortunately it can't call itself back at that point, but at least every turn you place it, you do get a free rear guard, so not a bad 3 of. Then we have 4 copies of Stealth Fiend Shenri, grade on boost 5k shield, 8k base, auto rear guard when it boosts if your opponent has one of those rear guards, or you put in order this turn. So glad Shenri doesn't specify a normal order, and it can be set order too. She'll get 5,000 power for the battle. At the end of the battle, put a soul draw card. So there will be times where your opponent has one of those rear guards, but again, the whole point of this deck is to at least try to play the set order consistently. A, so you can get Soaking Draco Kid back out to kill it again via Venatiol skill, but then B, to proc off Shenri's 13k boost skill, and then you can send her to soul, which again mitigates the soul problem of the deck and get you a hand card as well to replace her, making her not a bad grade 1. You can use her in the early game just to aggro rush your opponent down in grade 1 and grade 2 turns, but again, grade 3 turns where you're playing a little bit more retiring or you're just playing your set order consistently, she's a good 4 regardless. Then we have 4 copies of our new grade 1, who I love looking at because her hair has that white silver wolf mane, even though you can kind of tell it's supposed to be a QB Fox. Venatiol Rukihara, grade 1 boost 5k shield, 8k base. It doesn't QB mean fox in Japanese, so I just said fox, I don't remember. Anyways, auto back or rear guard circle at the beginning of your battle phase. If you have a grade 3, get a Vanguard Venatiol in the card name. Choose one. No, QB means 9. Yeah, QB Fox is 9-tailed fox, if I remember correctly. I don't remember what fox is in Japanese. I just remember QB is 9, because Q is 9. Anyways, at the beginning of your battle phase, place. If your Vanguard's a grade 3 grade Venatiol, choose one variance in a combat source, she gets 5,000 power for the turn. That's honestly pretty good because you can give it to your really good grade 2 rear guard, who albeit is going to die because of Venatiol skill, but at least for the battle is getting an extra 5k, which means it's going to swing for extra numbers. And if she ends up staying alive with Venatiol's retire skill, you can swing with the unit in front of her and then recall back Bruce Cutter Dragon and then use it for the second battle, and then Rukihara still stays alive. Honestly, not a bad grade 1 to have at all for strengthening just the units in the front row, and she does that regardless of what grade the opponent's Vanguard's at. But the other ability is also really solid, where although she's placed on rear guard circle by Vanguard's ability this turn, the cost is reduced by EB3, so when she's retired from rear guard by the ability of a grade 3 Vanguard Venatiol on the card name, either Energy Blast 3 or again if it was placed by Vanguard's ability this turn, it's for free. Draw a card. Are pretty solid because again your Energy Blast just turns into your draw, and she has the potential to be free if she was called off of the grade 3's ability because, well, the grade 3's ability has the potential to call this to rear guard circle. Now mind you, it says any Vanguard, so it doesn't have to technically be the grade 3 Diobarda, but the only part of the right that they can call it is the grade 1, and well, the grade 1 wouldn't technically count as a Vanguard because it still counts as in soul. It's the reason why a Censure calling Nobaris won't give Nobaris 10k in Rezel. It's the same function. Anyways, Rukihara, not a bad grade 1 at all. It gets you numbers to your front row rear guards, and it also gets you a hand card when she's retired by card abilities, and she more or less does both skills for free, making her an awesome and solid grade 1 to have in the deck. As for our PGs, we have 4 copies of Guardian Monk of the Raging Flames Monju, grade 1 boost 0 Silt, 6k base, continuous Sentinel with 4 tunnels in deck, and also put on guard circle, choose one moods, it cannot be hits in the battle, hands from more cards, you choose a card from hand and discard it. Standard PG, nothing too special about it, basically it means if this one of cards in your hand plus on guard circle, you don't have to discard, great, because that means you be super aggressive in the early game. Yeah, this goes without saying, but spam every single card out of the wazoo, and then your opponent does eventually counterattack you, throw down Monju, give them the middle finger, you're good to go. It's really good for defensive options. Everyone likes having a PG, especially when you play a more aggressive playstyle, ahem me, but you can make this any PG you want. You can make a Twin Buckler Dragon or Spark Rejector Dragon. They have the same skill as Monju. I chose to make it Monju though because he came out close to the time of Venatiol's release. As for our last grade 1 in the deck, one of them in the right deck, none in the main deck, of Venatiol Bunyip. Grade 1 boost 5k shield, 8k base, auto road upon by Venatiol Marzalis. Reveal the top card of your deck, call to rear guard circle is a grade 3 unit card, and discard if it's not. If you discard a card, soul charge 2. So if you soul charge 2, aka you flip specifically the set order and nothing else, because it's going to call anything else that you reveal, then you'll at least be able to use Dinobarda's skill pretty much for free the entirety of the game. And if you flip anything that isn't that, well, it gets your rear guard, even if it happens to be a Persona, which I mean sucks, but sometimes you just got to deal with it, and at least you get a 13k beat stick out of it. Then Act Drop Zone, if your Vanguard's a grade 3 grade Venatiol and you do not have a copy of this on your board, CB1 call it to rear guard circle and gets 5,000 power for the turn. So 13k base, and it's only a CB1 to call itself. Literally the only other card in the deck that eats up CB is Spruce Cutters, so not a bad grade 1, or that and Fall Heart, but Fall Heart you're going to use on your energy. So not a bad grade 1 to have in the deck, being able to get you early aggro when being rode upon by the grade 2 for free, mind you. And then not to mention the fact that being able to superior call itself to back row or back to the board every single turn as long as your Vanguard's at grade 3 grade Venatiol, meaning every single turn you have at least one rear guard that you can retire for the Vanguard's ability. Combine that with Soaking Draco Kid possibly, you always at least have the retired 2 or more ability act. So honestly, not a bad grade 1 to have in the deck, as I saw one of her ride deck. Some people like to run this thing in the main deck to have consistent access to into the drop zone, and while I do think that is a good idea, I just choose not to use it because once you get like one of them into the drop zone, you don't really need any more of them. You get a guaranteed way thanks to the grade 2 calling out the grade 1. So saw one of them in the red deck for me. As for our grade 2s, let's start off with our set order and Secret Bath Dragoncry Hot Springs. So the grade 2 set order of set orders play, put to order zone, act order zone, restless card, energy charge 1. So when I was putting this deck together, I was thinking about what I could use as an engine to replace the Nymph line because the Nymph line sucked. And I was half tempted to keep like the Latifah idea and just play the Nymph order anyways, like any generic normal order. But I didn't want to because all the Dragon Empire generic normal orders kind of suck in my opinion, except for like one, and I didn't really want to play it in this deck. So I was like, okay, what else can I do? And then I thought about it, I was like, oh yeah, the Soaking Draco Kid got revealed this set. So I was like, okay, let me go dig up Hot Springs. And I mean, Hot Springs does help with the deck. I mean, it gives you energy every single turn, and while it is technically a once per turn because you have to rest the card, at least if you have multiple copies, you can keep resting them, keep energy charging, so you can use those continuously on your Rukiharas, on your Soaking Draco Kids, on your energy generator, or your Fall Heart. Either way, it's an amazing set order to have, and it does it for free, and you can start proccing off as soon as grade 2 turn. So while even though this deck deck specifically cannot search it, it does benefit from its power, so 4 of. Then we have 4 copies of Drag Widow Fallheart, grade 2 instead of 5k shield, 10k base, auto and put on guard circle from hand, or discard from the hand while riding from the ride deck, CB1 or energy blast 3 in order to draw a card. Pretty solid, that's an alternate cost, so if you used up all your energy on the previous turn on Rukihara/Draco Kid, you can just choose the CB1 instead to draw a card, but most times you do want to use your energy because again you have continuous energy in the form of Hot Springs over here to get extra hand cards. And again, that's really nice that it can be proc either by putting from hand to guard circle in case you need like an extra last minute defensive draw, like maybe into a PG, or in case you just need to replace it for discard fodder for your ride deck, and then auto and place on rear guard circle. If you persona of this turn, CB1 or energy blast 3 again to choose a grade 1 card that's Sentinel from the drop zone, call to back or rear guard circle. Pretty cool, so same cost as its previous ability, but in this case, while it does only proc on persona ride turns, it gets you an extra rear guard to board, meaning again, it can guarantee you Dina Barda skill over here, procking off fully, which is really nice because if you combine that with Boon Yip and also maybe a Soaking Draco Kit, that gets you 4 rear guards for the equivalent cost of a CB and 6 energy or 2 CB and 3 energy. Either way, Fallheart is an incredible grade 1 or grade 2 to have in the deck for both being able to get you consistent hand cards, whether you're placing it from hand to guard circle or discarding from hand for ride deck, while also being able to get you rear guards back on your board for persona ride turn to continuously pressure down your opponent, Dino Barda skill. So 4 of. And then we have 4 copies of our new grade 2 Heavy Projectile Dragon Pati Go Hefty, grade 2 instead of 5k shield, 10k base, auto and retire from your front row rear guard circle by the ability of your Vanguard that's a grade 3 guard with either Ventil on the card name or Dino Dragon. So Gargarex, the promo grade 3, or Spinal Marquis, the, in my opinion, better promo grade 3 because it came out first and Bushy should have tried to support it instead of just making Gargarex. I don't think in terms of skill Spinal Marquis is better, but I think in terms of who should have been better, should have been Spinal Marquis. Anyways, I digress from my point. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards and you may retire it. Cool. So Ventil can kill off your own rear guards while your opponent's at grade 2. Merc off your Patio Hefty, get skills off of Dino Barda's skill, and then being able to murder your opponent's rear guards anywhere on their board, whether it's in front row or back row, is great. And it's a may retire clause. The only downside is you have to choose a rear guard. So if your opponent has ability that like procs off when chosen, then there you go. But you don't have to retire it. So they have an ability like those 1 random cards for Drag Genesis, where when it's retired by your opponent's card effect, so lost 1 draw a card, you can avoid retiring them thanks to his skill. Not a bad grade 2 at all, so it's not a mandatory retire, but most of the time you will retire due to get rid of your opponent's board presence while you're also getting strength off the Dino Barda skill. So solid 4, but he does it for free too, and it's not a once per turn, so if you retire 2 of them at the same time, you kill 2 rear guards. Then we have Spruce or Sploosh Cutter Dragon. I don't know why it's called Sploosh Cutter and not just Spruce Cutter like it was in Japanese, because that's such a cool name. And I don't know, Sploosh makes me think of like what's it called, Holes? I think it was called Sploosh anyways, like the final solution to like making the shoes not smell bad. I think that's what it was called anyways. And it was great chance to fight shield, 10k base, can change rear guard circle. If your Vanguard's a grade 3 guard and you do not have any other rear guards, this unit cannot be chosen or retired by your opponent's card effects, but can still be like mass hit by things like prison of multiple cards or bind or lock of multiple cards, but at least it can't be retired by your opponent's card effects or chosen if it's the only thing on your board and your Vanguard's any grade 3. And auto rear guard when it attacks anything. If your Vanguard's a grade 3 guard of Ventil, it gets 5,000 power for the battle, so 15k swing into a grade 2 Vanguard is good, plus, you know, the skill of our lovely Rukihara, so 20k swing, not bad. And then auto and retire by the ability of your grade 3 guard of Vanguard if you do not have a copy of this on your board. CB1 call back to the rear guard circle, and if your Vanguard has Ventil in the card name, it gets 5,000 power ton of turn for each of your open rear guard circles. So that play I mentioned earlier where you would have like Rukihara still behind it, but you kill everything else, you know, Sploosh Cutter will come back at plus 15k because you have 3 open rear guard circles, but if you killed everything on your board and then Spruce Cutter comes back, it gets plus 20k instead. And then don't forget it's on attack plus 5 skill, so in total get plus 25, so 35k swing without triggers, personas, or other effects applied. All around, Sploosh Cutter is an amazing grade 2 rear guard to have. It prevents itself from being retired or chosen by card effects if the only thing still standing on the board. It gets stronger the more open rear guard circles there are, and it can call itself back. Unlike Shura from Varga, it doesn't require the opponent to be at a specific grade for that callback and gets incredible numbers out of it too. And it just has a generic plus 5k skill on it. It's not a bad grade 2 at all. It's actually an amazing grade 2, and honestly the only thing that makes this deck have like really good support cards. Like, okay, this deck has gotten 3 support cards named for it, and honestly all of them are pretty good. Ventil Rikihara is good for resource, Sploosh Cutter is good for just anything, and then this card is like the worst, but the other 2 set an incredibly high bar that like by default this would be the worst. Moving on to our grade 2 of the ride deck, one of the ride deck and the main deck of Ventil Mausolus, grade 2 instead of 5k shield, 10k base, auto upon by a grade 3 card Ventil on the card name, choose a Ventil Bunya from your soul, call both this card and that card card to rear guard circle, so it gets you 2 rear guards to immediately kill for Dino Bardas effect, and then auto rear guard when it attacks anything. Your Vanguards are great, they're good. Venatiol gets 5,000 power for the battle. So 15k swing, boosted by Bunyip, even though Bunyip doesn't have to be called to the same column. 23k swing, not bad. Again, you don't really need this thing in the main deck because only 15k swing, and I mean, for better rear guards, we have, you know, draw power, merc power, both, and then not to mention the fact like a really good set order. We don't really need this card in the main deck, but it is a nice one of in the ride deck because at least on the grade 2 going to grade 3 turn, you're just going to have a decent amount of pressure on your opponent's Vanguard. And then as for our last card of the deck, 3 in the main deck, 1 in the ride deck of the man who has a lovely moon in the background. I think it's a moon, which means I'm biased towards him anyways. Venatiol Barda. Grade 3, 2%, 13k base. Act Vanguard was per turn. Soul Boss 1, check the top 5. Chill to 1 grade 2 as unit card from Melon, call to rear guard, circle, shuffle the deck. Auto Vanguard, when it attacks anything, retire 2 or more up to 5 of your rear guards and perform all the following according to the number of rear guards retired for this cost. 2 or more, it gets 5,000 power on the battle for each unit retired for the cost. 3 or more, it gets +1 drive for the battle. And 4 or more, if your opponent's Vanguards are grade 3 or greater, to end of that battle when your opponent call cards from hand to guard circles, cost 3 or more at the same time. So technically you never have to retire more than 4, but most of the time you retire 5 just to, you know, open up more rear guard circles, because A, he gets 5k for every single card retired, so if you retire 5, he gets +25, and then Spooge Carter gets an extra 5k when he does get called back. So most times you retire 5 if you can once your opponent's at grade 3, but until they're at grade 3, you only really need to retire 3, which is still pretty solid. And again, the fact that he gets triple drive and at least +15k power while your opponent's at grade 2 is solid. And a simple Soul Boss 1 to check the top 5 and call any grade 2 or less is awesome. And again, this is the only grade 3 in the deck, meaning that your Soul Boss 1 will always hit you at least 1 card you can call. Should you call anything that you see? Not necessarily, because there will be times like where your top 5 is only triggers in a PG, but if it's a PG, sometimes you call just for deck laning and it gets you a unit on board that you can therefore retire for Venatiol skill. So not a bad grade 3 to have overall, and get you at least 1 rear guard to have on the board, and since you draw 1 card every single turn, that means at least when he attacks, as long as you can use his first skill, his second skill will always at bare minimum be a +10k to himself, and his second skill, while you will only ever pull off once per turn, you can combo with Drag Veda if you play very specifically to get a bunch of numbers back, and at least it can bully down your opponent with triple drive on turn 2 with 28k base, and after that it can guard restrict your opponent to guarding with 3 or more at the same time, basically being Flagberg, which as we all know, Flagberg was not the greatest, but whenever Flagberg did put your opponent to a situation where they had to hard guard it, well, sucked for them. So very solid grade 3 to have in the deck. 3 of in the main deck, 1 of in the ride deck. And without further ado, that's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. Honestly, this deck is very fun to play. It's kind of sad that it doesn't have anything too explosive about it. I mean, Sploosh Cutter is a very powerful grade 2, but unfortunately you can only call back 1 at a time, and there might be a way to get 5 attacks in this deck, but honestly it's not worth it because I'm pretty sure it would cost a lot of resources to do so. And right now where the deck is, like, it has a good foundation to build from. Like, we have a really solid attacking unit, we have a really good draw card, and we have just a generically decent ride line. And then, you know, like, this card being able to retire is fine, but like, it doesn't really do anything really big in the forms of resources like the other 2 do. So once this deck like gets a little bit more support, I feel like Venatiol could actually do something, but I fear this may be the next gonna get really good support over time, but like, it's gonna take a while for that to happen, but we'll see. Either way though, that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join Discord. I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to send up your Vanguards.